Welcome, Sun Prairie. I'm Nick Zweifel. I'm your Dane County Board Supervisor. And it's been a real honor for me to be able to serve you on the Dane County Board and represent the city of Sun Prairie. And as I've been serving you, I thought to myself, maybe some of my constituents and those of you who live here in Sun Prairie might not really know what it is the county does for you and your family. So I started this show called Supe Talk, which will be on KSUN, your local cable station, and my YouTube channel. And I thought it'd be interesting if I went out and interviewed all the people that make Dane County tick from all of our departments and the other politicians that serve you. And I thought it'd be fun for you to be able to meet them and hear from them what it is that they do for you on a daily basis. So I'm sure you don't want to sit here and listen to me talk. So I say I grab my coat and we hit the road and go out and meet all the people that make Dane County tick and work for you and your family on a daily basis. So come on, let's go. Let's get started. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. Welcome, Sun Prairie, to another episode of Supe Talk. And today I have the pleasure of having your Dane County Clerk, Scott McDonell, with us, so we could talk about what the clerk's office does for the county. It's kind of unique because Scott has been in county politics for a long time. He's been on the Dane County Board, and he's been the chair of the Dane County Board. And it's kind of special for me because after I was elected, Scott was the chair of the board, and he helped me out immensely, especially through the first budget cycle that we went through. You were always there to answer questions, even at home late at night. And I appreciate that, so I wanted to give a shout out to you on that. But so let's just dive right into it. So Scott, if you could just start out and give my Sun Prairie residents a short bio of where you came from.
Well, I grew up in Maryland. My family was all originally from the Midwest, and I made my way back to the Midwest by going to college here at the UW. And like so many people who go to UW, you fall in love with the city and the community and decided to stay. And toward the end of my time, decided to run for county board. There was an open seat. Mark Buchanan was not running again for county board, and kind of on a whim I decided to run, and I ended up winning in 1996 by 6 votes. And that was the beginning of a long time in county government. My father was in county government for a long time, so it was sort of natural for me to sort of follow in his footsteps. So, and then this last year, in last November, I was elected county clerk. So this will mark almost 16 years in county government.
Cool. And you played soccer, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I played soccer for Wisconsin, and that's sort of part of the reason I ended up coming out here. I came out on a visit and was very impressed by the program and the coaches, and that helped make my decision. So
cool. Well, welcome to my show. So for a clerk, especially, I don't think a lot of people get what either a municipal clerk does or the county clerk does. So I wanted to do a show with you and give people an idea of what it is you have to do, and talk about the transition, because being county board chair and then moving to clerk has probably been quite an experience. So we'll get into that next. So could you describe the transition from going from county board chair to clerk? And
well, it's interesting in that the offices, as you know, are next to each other, and the clerk's office works closely with the county board office. The clerk, part of the clerk's responsibilities are to do all the minutes and agendas, and keep track of all the critical documents, the contracts that go through the county. So that's why they work closely with the county board, because the county board decides what's going to be on the agendas. And so those functions are intertwined, and that part of the job was relatively easy for me to adjust to. Sometimes when you take a new job, you have to go to a new office and learn new people. I know everybody here, so that part was pretty seamless. The harder part is that there are the whole election functions that are another large part of the job of this office, and the marriage license functions. And we do some other licenses, but mostly it's marriage licenses. Is something I had to learn more about, and that's been a challenge, and that's been interesting, and I enjoy that part of it probably more than any other part.
So there's one unique thing, is when you were still on the board, didn't we approve some legislative tracking software, and now coming in at clerk, or is that going to make your job a little bit easier once that's implemented, or?
Right, so now we have a system that is not very friendly to the public keeping track of what goes on in county government, and it's not friendly to staff trying to, move legislation internally along. There are a lot of products out there that will automate those functions and make it much more transparent, put items out on the web, allow the public to click on items and get email or text updates on the things that they care about. So that is where we're at in the process of that. Is we've scored some requests for proposals from some vendors that have that responded. We're hoping to make a decision on who we're going to go with this summer and implement it by next early spring. Have some time to get used to it and train everybody. So that'll be a real improvement for both county staff, but also for the public trying to find out what is going on in county government, look up how their county supervisor has voted, track things that they care about, and hopefully we get to a point where, a lot of things can be automated, changes in hours to the dog park, you can get an alert if that's what you care about, if that's the dog park you use, whatever, we can try to make it so that the county government's much more accessible to the citizens.
Yeah, I know. I'm a techie nerd, so I know I'm looking forward to something.
I think everyone knows that.
Yeah. So as clerk, you've been here actually a short time as clerk. So what things have you already done, and what do you have on the horizon for Dane County during your first term?
Well, as far as getting this RFP together for the legislative tracking system, that's in progress, and that's been a fair amount of work. The big things coming along on the horizon will be also new voting equipment countywide. So the optical scanner that you feed your ballot through, that we've been using for 20 plus years in Dane County, those machines are past their useful life and they need to be replaced. There's money in the county budget to help communities like Sun Prairie buy new equipment, keep us all on the same sort of platform. I know I've been working closely with Diane Herman Brown on what we want to buy and what we need to see in that equipment. So that'll be something that we might, could be coming as quickly as next spring.
Oh, great.
Depending on, in part the Government Accountability Board and some other factors, but that's our target date. That's going to be a huge process that I'm a little hesitant about, but also looking forward to getting to work on. The legislative tracking software. We're also going to automate the data between our office and the Register of Deeds. Right now we both do data entry, we do the same data, and I'd like to automate that. It would mostly benefit the Register of Deeds, since they're the ones re-entering what we enter, but that would cut down on the mistakes, help us be a little leaner county government. But it also, they're willing to do a simple program to fill out voter registration information. So when somebody is changing their address or their name as part of getting married, we can offer them a pre-filled out voter registration form that they can sign. Hopefully we'll get a few more people registered to vote.
Cool. So there was a little bit of a snafu in the last spring election in Sun Prairie, and so was that sort of the issue between this infrastructure stuff we're sort of talking about, or?
Right. I mean, the modems and the equipment that we use are 20 years old. So on election night, when you have a relatively simple election, you'll end up getting everybody calling in or modeming in their results at the same time, which can kind of overrun our system here. You have more communities calling in the results. At some point, the results were transcribed incorrectly somewhere on that chain, and the results were off, as you know, for one of the aldermanic races. It got corrected by later in the evening, but that's one of the things that this new system will correct. The data will be more accurate. One thing I will say is that I think the public, based on the laws, that the changes that have been made in the Capitol, need to understand though that the results really are not going to be final until much later. They've pushed back the date that absentee ballots can be accepted and counted. So if there's an election where there's a handful of votes of difference, there can be enough outstanding absentee ballots that have not arrived yet that can change the result of that election. And even more now, the election night results should be viewed as most probably accurate, but not completely accurate. We get the data the next day, the actual election data for a lot of the polling places the next day, then we can check to make sure there weren't any mistakes. Some of them don't change the outcome of the election, but that's the actual election data, not what gets phoned in on the night of. But then also the Board of Canvass a week later will have the additional late absentee ballots.
So can you describe what election night is like, especially, you just went through a presidential one, so, being a clerk for the first time, I'm guessing that was quite the experience.
It can be a little bit of it can be stressful, which I like. I kind of am more used to the stressful moments where there's no fix it tomorrow or I can do it later. That's the day. For example, we were really concerned we were going to run out of ballots in November in a bunch of polling places. We had ordered plenty of ballots, and of course they can Xerox and hand count a few. You can always give everyone a ballot and they can mark something and leave, but then it becomes chaotic and slow after that if you're using a non-standard ballot. So we try to avoid that at all costs. But what had happened was people were voting too many times, especially for president. They were voting for multiple presidential candidates, and so their ballots were getting spoiled. The machine would kick it back out, and they'd be like, "I'm sorry, you voted. You have to redo it."
Wow.
And that's why we were burning through ballots. There was plenty of ballots, but it was happening in a lot of places where we were having to remake ballots, and I don't know why. Sometimes you wonder if the ballot layout is such that there's too many candidates for all these other parties that are confusing people. But that was a problem, and so one of the things I've worked with as the sheriff is a plan on quickly distributing ballots on election night, election afternoon actually, not the night would be too late, and see whether we can move ballots around quickly and efficiently, and not have that sense of panic that we're going to run out. We're just going to over order a little bit to the areas that are on the very edge of the county because they're the hardest to resupply. So we'll just eat a little bit of an expense there. But yeah, there's a definite during the day it's kind of quiet, you're not sure, and then usually around middle of the afternoon you start to know whether things are going to go smooth or they're not going to go smooth.
Yeah. Well, I'm guessing the computer infrastructure probably doesn't help, so it's good to know that with the changes that we're going to be making hopefully soon, we'll make things go a little bit smoother. So, what's been the most rewarding transition? You're now the clerk. What's been kind of the most rewarding part about your job that you?
I kind of like, a lot of times we'll cover for each other around the office. It's not a very large office, and I kind of enjoy working up front in the summer now, doing marriage licenses. You see all these optimistic couples coming in, and little do they know how marriage will grind them down later. But no, but no, it's fun to see the excitement of a new adventure for them, and that's nice. I mean, a lot of county government you're dealing with the jail or you're dealing with 911, and some of that can be kind of tragic. But this is sort of the fun part.
Yeah, you were working on one of those when I came in, so. Well, hey, I would like to thank you for doing the interview with me, and I do this show to kind of let Sun Prairie residents know what the county does, because I always felt like people go, "What do you guys do?" So I appreciate your time, and it's summer, so I'm gonna sign off and say goodbye, Sun Prairie, till next time, and I think Scott and I are gonna go somewhere out for lunch. So till next time. Wow, now that was a lot of fun. I learned a ton. I hope you learned a lot too. And you know what? We're going to do a lot more of these. So I hope you stay tuned. I hope you check out my YouTube channel and my blog and follow along and read what the county is doing on a daily basis for you. And, until next time, Supervisor Zweifel saying we'll see you next time on Supe Talk. Thanks a lot. Bye.